recording this. If you can turn your cameras on as well. I do not like talking to myself and only one of us has our cameras on. I'm sorry, you guys, but I do expect us to show up as a team, and it's not fair to me when I just sit here and talk to myself, okay? So I have a lot of value to add tonight, and I'm just really excited to give y'all the topic of what we're going to talk about. So the topic of the team Zoom was breaking through barriers, and so I'm going to give y'all kind of a workshop, and I'll give y'all questions to go home with, you can sit here and write it out. You can take time depending on how much time we have. So these are really, really good because I know a lot of people in this business specifically have a lot of different barriers that they have to break through in this business as far as mentality goes and mindset goes. I know for me personally, I had a lot of barriers to get through. I still go through barriers every single day. And just because you level up your circle, just because you level up in this business, because you promote, doesn't mean that you're breaking through this, or doesn't mean that you don't have barriers to break through. I think a lot of people have misconceptions of once you become successful or you have this amount of money in your bank account or whatever, that you all of a sudden don't have any problems. And that's not necessarily true. It's just different levels of growing, I would say. So anyways, I hope that you get a lot from this. Okay, so we were on our leader Zoom, and I will kind of give y'all examples too, just so you aren't like, what do you mean? But we were on our leader Zoom. In the past 2 weeks on our leader Zoom, we were learning how to break through barriers as far as mindset goes. And a lot of things were just so good. Like I can't even explain it. So I'm someone who I like facts about stuff. I like to know the hardcore facts behind things. I'm not a green personality. If you don't know what green personality is simply just wanting to know the details of things. I'm not that way, but I am someone who I'm like, okay, can you give me facts on like why this works in your brain? So we were talking about the breakthroughs of making breakthroughs in your mind and the limiting beliefs that you have. And one thing that is crazy to think of is, and it was something that, let me see. It was something that was just mind-blowing to me. So it mentioned on the slides that Morgan had gave us, it said that beliefs can be super limiting and that they can also cause inaction. So notice that when your thinking doesn't feel good, when you have these negative thoughts, when you have these limiting beliefs of, oh, I can't do this, or I suck at this, or wow, it's going to be a lot harder than I thought it would be, or whatever, that it starts to fall into this pit, and your emotions, it creates emotions, feelings, and actions that are not in line with what you actually want to create. So since I'm a words of affirmation type of chick, can you put a 1 in the chat if you at least agree with this, or you know, as an example, something that you can relate to with this? You may think that you're not good in this business, or you might think that you aren't good at something in life. You might not think that you're a good mom. You might think something, I don't know, along the lines of that. And it creates this pattern of you doing the same thing over and over and over again. How many of you guys have said, I'm lazy, I can't seem to ever be consistent in my life, whatever it might be? Then you go do the actions to support that. So maybe you don't ever exercise, or you don't ever get off the couch, or you always like waste your time talking about how much you can't commit to a diet, so you never try to do a diet again. Whatever it might be, this can really fall in line with whatever it is that you're trying to do in this business. So if you are trying to reach the level at this business, or you just started, maybe I have a newbie on here, well, 2 newbies. So if you're new in this business and you're just trying to break the barrier of getting into conversations, or you're trying to break the barrier of signing up your first customer or whatever, you can relate this to anything. But how many times have you repeated to yourself, oh, I probably can't do this, or oh, I probably won't get a reply today, or oh my gosh, I probably won't sign up the person who's told me that they were going to sign up today? How many of you guys have said that? So this kind of falls in line with that. So number 1, I want you to actually ask yourself and check yourself and ask yourself, what are your thoughts telling you? Are your thoughts telling me that you can't do this? And you just kind of list out that thing. So that's your number 1 action, call to action, that I want you to do. And we don't obviously have like a lot of time to just sit here and write it out, but these are the questions that I want you to ask yourself. So let me type this in the chat. So it says, what are most of your thoughts telling you? And then leave examples. So this is what you're going to do as far as a journaling prompt goes. So for me, I can give y'all examples as we go. So one of the limiting thoughts that I have for me is that I can't make it into the top 150. Like I can't have our team make it into the top 150, or that I can't have leaders promote other leaders, or I can't have instant rubies popping every single month. I can't do this. And that's the thoughts that come into my head. And guess what? I haven't reached yet. I haven't reached top 150. I haven't had my leaders like go in and dive deep and create all these other leaders. I haven't personally created all these like massive leaders where there was a presidential diamond, all these things. I haven't personally done that yet, as far as like creating new people. And then I also haven't created rubies every month. I haven't helped people promote to ruby every month. And I know for a fact the reason why I haven't had these things happen is because I've kept telling myself that I can't do it. So that's an example that I have for myself. So you can write out whatever it is for you. And then the second question is, where you are right now, does it show evidence and support what your mind is thinking all the time? So if you are in this business and maybe you're trying to go ruby, you're trying to go diamond, you're trying to earn the success bonus, whatever, is the evidence supporting it? More than likely, yes, because we know that our thoughts lead to our biggest actions, or our actions lead to our thoughts, so vice versa. So how many of you guys are like actually satisfied with where you're at? I'm very grateful for where I'm at, but I'm like, ooh, that kind of hit me hard. So when I was journaling this out, I was like, actually, that is so true. So this is the second question for journaling. It says, oh, I'm gonna butcher this, where you're at now, is it supporting your thoughts that you've been having? I think that's the right word to describe it. Okay, that's going to be your second journal prompt. So this can be something that you do in the morning, or this can be something that you do tonight once we get off of here, whatever time you have. So for me personally, I journal first thing in the morning. I drink my cup of coffee, and obviously I have the luxury now of being able to do this full time. So I do own my own time. So I get to wake up and drink my coffee and just journal out and take my time with things. Maybe you're someone who does work a full-time job and you need to fit it within 15 minutes before you go to work. That's totally fine. When I worked a full-time job, I woke up an hour earlier than I was supposed to make sure that I got my mindset right, made sure that I did this business first before I went into my other job. So know that it's possible. Just figure out where and when you can do the journaling prompts. Okay, and then so going on to the next thing. So it said, after you've thought about this and you've thought about your thoughts of what has been leading you to the most to where you're at now, it says when this happens, it creates tension between your subconscious and your conscious. So what this actually means is you are creating this tension of limiting beliefs. So those are the lies that you keep telling yourself, if I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this. And you're creating the tension between the thoughts of what you actually want to happen. So there's constant tension all the time, meaning that you can never get to where you want to go because you have constant tension. And it's like they're just waiting to break. Like they're just waiting to make you have a breakthrough, but you can't because they're constantly creating tension. This will make more sense in a minute when I actually explain more into depth, so hang with me. So anyways, facts behind that. So you're creating this tension over and over and over again. So the third question is, what are your limiting beliefs? And then here are some examples to know what an actual limiting belief is, so you know what to define. And let me get back to this. Okay, so it says, how do limiting beliefs sound? And this gives you examples, so maybe you can fall in line with any of these limiting beliefs, but this is how limiting beliefs sound, okay? There's never enough time. Money is hard to make. I'm not good enough. I just can't get a break. I don't want to make a mistake. That shouldn't have happened. I always seem to have bad luck. It never happens for me. I'm a fraud. I'm not good with money. I don't have the right skills. I'm not very creative. I'm just not a math person. I'm just not this type of person. What if it doesn't work? Things will never work out for me. I'll always have bad luck. I don't know where to start. It's always way too late for me. How many of you guys fall into that victim mentality of saying, I'm never this, I can never this, I can't do this because of this? So you're literally creating evidence and evidence and evidence and evidence over and over and over and over again in your life as to why you can't do the thing. So if you have never promoted to Ruby, if you have never promoted and gotten someone their 4-in-1 bonus to where you've gotten a $350 bonus and where you've gotten your own $150 bonus, if you've never completed a 4-in-1 bonus in your life in this business, if you've never signed a distributor, it is literally because your brain keeps telling you that you can't do it because it's what you've allowed it to come into your brain over and over again. You have done nothing to change it, to where you've never actually, number one, taken the action to go do those things. And then number two, you probably if you just let those thoughts roll in your mind and you're like, you know what? That's actually right. That does make sense. I probably can't do that because, well, I haven't done it before. So why would I do it now? It makes sense because my dad didn't do this, or my parents have always been broke. So that makes sense for me to be broke. Oh, my parents are overweight. So that makes sense for me to be overweight. Oh, and you can just fill in the blank. It doesn't matter. But this can go into your business, this can go into your life, but you can see where all these things kind of connect, because if you don't think you're worthy or good enough in one area, you know it's going to leak over into the other area of your life. So if you don't think you're good enough to own your own business or to be able to lead people from the front, how do you think that's going to leak into you ever thinking that you'll be a good mom? I know a lot of people who are moms in this business who don't think they're an amazing mom because they're not an amazing leader, and they feel like they can't even lead themselves every day, so they can't lead their kids. So there's a lot of different connections. So if you are someone who's like really wanting this deep connection with this business, you have to also tie it into other parts of your life. So you have to think of your future self. You have to think of what you want for your future kids, for your future family, whatever it might be. And so make sure that you're just like really opening up to saying, okay, I need to fix these limiting beliefs, because it's going to leak over into, number one, my kids believing in themselves finally. And then also it's going to show them that they can do this too. Not necessarily the business, I don't know, but it just shows them that all possibilities are endless. Like it really does. So anyways, so I'm going to read from this. So that was the third question, is what are your actual limiting beliefs? And I can send the examples in the chat if y'all need them again in the group chat. So that's the third question. And it kind of ties back into what are most of your thoughts telling you, like what are your dominant thoughts? And then, so this one comes from talking about what these what these beliefs do. And this was, again, backed up by scientific data. So I'm just going to kind of read this. It's going to not be the most exciting thing, but just bear with me. So it says beliefs are decisions. And it says at an unconscious level, you have been deciding your limiting belief over and over and over again. There are things we have decided about life, about ourselves, about things, about people. Like I said, they're all connecting. So you're deciding all these things about different parts of your life. They are not decisions to do something. If what we believe dictates our destiny, then it is true that our decisions dictate our destiny. When we see we have been making a decision over and over and over again that doesn't serve us, we can make a new decision. So that's a good news about whatever it is that you're thinking, is that you actually can change it. A lot of you maybe have been going through the same thought patterns over and over again, and you feel like you were born with it. I know for me, there's a lot of different times in my life where I'm like, wow, I feel like I can't get past this rut. Like I've been making this amount of money, but I feel like I have not been able to go past it because I've been telling myself the same limiting beliefs over and over and over again. And if I really connected it, I know it goes back to my childhood, back to where we lost our house, where we lost absolutely everything. We were foreclosed on, so we had to get, like, we got evicted out of our house. It takes me back to those days. And so if maybe you're someone like that and you're like, I don't know where this comes from, maybe you need to do a little bit more deeper digging and think, okay, well, were my parents broke, or did we lose everything, or was my parent abusive, whatever, and you can tie those back. But then it also talks about, it says the brain and how the brain functions with these limiting beliefs and how you can change it. So it says, imagine the brain like a search engine, incredible technology constantly searching for answers based on the questions that we ask. The problem is most of us are asking unintelligent questions that are formed from our belief system. The answers we are getting are confirmations that we already believe to be true, which it goes back to the limiting beliefs. So your brain is finding evidence to make those things true. So when you're like, I can't sign a distributor, I can't do this, I can't go Ruby, oh, I can't mass enroll, or oh, I can't produce a leader or whatever like this, or I can't gain a success bonus, your mind is automatically going back and thinking, okay, is that true or is that not true? Well, it hasn't happened before, so yeah, I guess it is true. So we're going to deposit that into the truth box. That's how your brain is thinking when you're telling yourself these limiting beliefs. So it says the problem is most people ask, don't I need to know the how? But the real answer is that you don't. You only need to understand one thing, how exactly the brain works. And then it says the brain only has access to memories of what has happened already in the past. It just goes back to what I was just saying. When we ask the brain questions, the brain searches for evidence based on what has already happened. But everything we want, including who we want to become, is the great unknown. Therefore, in order to create brain change, we need to create memories of things that we have not seen happen yet. This kind of goes back to manifestation and visioning and vision casting. I have a really good Zoom about it. I think it's called like vision casting. It's on my YouTube if you wanted to go back and watch that. But it's actually like just envisioning the life that you want for yourself really causes your brain to like explode with energy. It's really cool. So if you have any questions about that, ask me. But it says 3 things happen when you make a new decision, and do not try to figure out the how when you're trying to do these things. Because how many of you guys, let me know if I'm not the only one, how many of you guys look at a Ruby chart, or you look at something in this business, or you look at a success bonus, or you look at conversations that you're having with customers, and you're like, how in the world am I about to do this? Like, I'm telling myself I want this, I'm telling myself I want these bonuses, but actually, like, how am I going to do it? I know for me, can you put a 2 in the chat if you do agree? Because I know for me, I do this all the time, and it irritates me. I'm like, okay, I know I have this vision in my mind. I know I want to get to top 150. I know I want to pay off this debt. I know, but how am I going to do it? And your world starts spinning and your brain starts spinning, and then you start creating those doubts because you're like, well, it's never happened before, and if I don't know how it's going to happen, then how would I ever even be able to get there? These are the thoughts that your mind keeps constantly having over and over and over again. So it says, number 1, you begin to have new thoughts and ideas that are aligned with your new decision. Number 2, you change your perception of reality through the reticular activating system. The brain has a filter called the reticular activating system that controls what you pay attention to. What you pay attention to is guided by what you have decided. Number 1 thing to remember here is what you focus on actually happens. How many of you guys, and you hear this all the time, but it's so true, how many of you guys are going through red lights or green lights and you're like, don't turn red, don't turn red, don't turn red, and then all of them turn red? How many times has that happened to you? That's literally happened to me a million times. So now I've actually made it apparent to not even think about it. When I'm just going past the light, I'm like, okay, whatever happens, happens. I kid you not, I always hit green lights, you guys. I always hit green lights. It's crazy. So think of that method when you're thinking this. What you pay attention to most happens. So when you're constantly complaining about, oh my gosh, this happened, or oh my gosh, this is probably going to happen, this customer is probably going to cancel because all the other ones have canceled before, oh, this distributor is probably not going to sign up because nobody else has signed up with me before, oh, I'm probably not going to go Ruby this month because I've been claiming it for the past 5 months and it hasn't happened. This is probably going to sound similar to some of you guys. I know for me, it sounds like that with presidential. I'm like, how am I going to get this team to presidential? How are we going to go to 150? How are we going to sit here and make over this amount of money a month? Like, what are we going to do? So my brain starts spinning and I'm like, wow, this is kind of overwhelming. So you get overwhelmed and then you just shut down. So then it talks about number 3, your thoughts begin to manufacture what we call coincidence or synchronicity, I think, in your life. Number 1, your brain produces electrical output and has an energetic response. Number 2, life reflects back to you what you have decided. Number 3, changing your reality in your life means changing the way you think, which if you have not listened or got the book Winning the War in Your Mind, that's really going to help with you changing the way that you think and controlling your thoughts. Really helped me. And then it says, getting really clear about what you want to create in your life. And then the last one, making empowering new decisions that align with what you want to create. So all of these things right now are going to benefit you when you're thinking about all the limiting beliefs that you have. Go back to this list and think, okay, this is what I want out of my life. How can I figure out every single day to actually manufacture my thoughts and to change it to the belief of, okay, I can do this. I can do this. Because when you start believing that you can, you're going to start seeing those things naturally come to you. It's crazy. I did that with the success bonus, which is actually what I'm going to talk about with making a decision, because the next thing it says the power of a decision. So it says, now moving on to making the actual decision to do these things, it says the power of decision. And it says the decision matrix is a simple yet powerful 3-step process to help us change our beliefs and make new empowering decisions. Number 1, identifying the belief. Number 2, if we know that limiting belief is not aligned with what you want to create, then what decision could you make that is aligned with what you want? And then also remember this, it is usually the opposite of the limiting belief. So it says, I'll repeat that again. If we know the limiting belief is not aligned with what you want to create, so you saying constantly, you're not Ruby, you can't assign distributors, you can't earn a success bonus, you can't earn a 4-in-1 bonus, you can't do this. Think about those things that you keep telling yourself. Then what decision could you make that is aligned with what you want? This kind of goes back to, okay, so if I know that I want to sign 4 customers and a friend, the 4-in-1 system. If I want to do that, how am I going to do that today? Well, number 1, complete your 6 list. Okay, that's the number 1 thing that you do is complete your task list for the day. Get the 10 host posts up, the 5 to 10 host posts up, get conversations in so you can start thinking of it in like a factual sense and be like, okay, I know I want this. So what's my input that I can do to actually receive this? And then you start like taking the emotion out of it and you're like, oh, okay, it really is that simple. So then it goes to the next thing. It says, it's still the power of the evidence. And then it says stack evidence for the new decision. So with all that said, I know that was a lot of information. I'll kind of close it out and then give y'all like tips about like business really quickly. But one thing that Oprah said that it was so good, and I'll tell y'all what I've been doing after I saw this quote. She said, after all of this, it says the commitment to do well and to be well is a lifetime of choices that you make daily. So hear that, not weekly, not bi-weekly, not anything like that. You have to make it daily. So when you wake up to do your business, you have to wake up every single day and make that decision. How many of you guys have made a decision to not work because you just didn't feel like it, all based off of your feelings? How many of you guys based off of it from being discouraged because you didn't sign anybody last week? So you're like, well, it's pointless, you know? I know I've done that in the past. And so it says the space to live in is not I'll try, not I want to, not I really want to, but it's just saying I have decided. So with that being said, this week, instead of, y'all know how big I am on affirmations. I love affirmations. I'm someone who's like, oh, give me I am statements all day. I literally have the app downloaded, I am. So it pops up every hour, something new for I am affirmations. Like I am wealthy. I am confident in who I am and I love myself or whatever. I love those type of affirmations. So what I've been doing in the morning is still doing the I am statements because I just obviously want to get my mind right. But the second thing that I'm doing is doing I have decided statements. So I wish I actually should have pulled it up from here, but I journal every single day. And so I have a bunch of statements that say, today I have decided that I'm going to earn the success bonus. And if you're new and you don't know what the success bonus is, it's the $4,500 bonus that's out right now. I am waiting on confirmation, but I should have earned it. So I'm just waiting to hear back from them. But after I started writing these, not even 2 weeks, you guys. It's been 2 weeks since we learned, or I think it's been 2 weeks. 2 weeks since we learned all of this about like the facts behind like your brain and how it works. And after seeing that quote, 2 weeks. 2 weeks it took me to actually get the success bonus. After I decided and made that decision that I was going to make that $4,500 bonus. So with all that to say, I want you to start thinking of the things that you need or that you want to have happen in your life and in this business, specifically this business, because I want y'all to see how much you are capable of doing in this business. A lot of you guys are limiting yourselves because you're either not doing the work, you're making a lot of excuses, or you're just simply telling yourself that you can't. And your mind is backing up the evidence that you can't, so you aren't getting anywhere. And you're getting frustrated and you're like, why can't I do this? Why am I not like moving somewhere? Why am I not doing this? You're getting discouraged. When number one, you just have to trust the process. Number two, you have to fix your mindset and focus on what you really can control, which is your input of this business and the input of work that you do, because we don't limit you to the tools. You have all the tools in the world to be successful. Every single time I sign up a customer or a distributor, I send you my conversations. I show you what my planner looks like. Okay, I show y'all what it looks like. I show y'all all the things. So do the leaders on our team. So we're not limiting you to anything. You're limiting yourself. If you think about it, if you're not where you want to be, you're limiting yourself, and your thoughts are limiting yourself. So that's what I want you to focus on, is really focusing on the I have decided statements this week. And if this helps, what I did was I put sticky notes all in my bathroom. I have 2 bathrooms and I go in both of them a lot. So it's not like I could do one or the other. So I put sticky notes on each of the mirrors. Like a lot of them, I put it on the fridge, and I put it in our bathroom. We have like a separate thing for like you to actually go to the bathroom, and I put some in there too. So I put them everywhere, and I was like, I have decided I'm going to Punta Cana. I have decided that I'm a leader of leaders. I'm creating leaders like religiously. Okay, I've decided that I'm earning endless 4-in-1 bonuses. I have decided that I'm getting a success bonus. I have decided that my team really wants this, and that they're doing this, and that they're creating leaders of leaders, and that they're creating their own business, that they're doing this. And you guys, the things that I've done, or the things that I've claimed over myself, I am actually seeing happen. And I'm not saying that that doesn't come with without bumps. I'm not saying that that doesn't come without things not really going my way. Sometimes there are a lot of things that don't go my way, but at the end of the day, I know wholeheartedly that I have done everything I needed to, and that I just have to trust the process. Some of you guys are laying your head down at night and you're kind of discouraged because you know deep down you're not even doing the work it takes to do this business. Okay, so then you get discouraged because you're like, wow, can I even do this? Like, am I even meant for this? Like, do I even like to do this? Like, and you start like rambling on in your head, and you start freaking out, and you start getting discouraged and questioning yourself and questioning this business, when you just got to trust the process, and you have to make that decision that you're actually going to do the work necessary for this business to work for you. So with that being said, this is the exercise. Ooh, Okay, so it says right here, and I'll send this in the chat just so y'all have this because we're going up on this ending. But it just gives you some free writing prompts for you to believe and think and just really focus on the things that you need to start focusing on. So it's going to help you in the business. It's going to help you with your life. So you can do it two different ways. You can do it I like pertaining to the business. So when it talks about like what are your limiting beliefs, it could be about you being a mom, it could be about you whatever, because like I said, it all leaks into one. But I would like for you to tie in the business somehow too, because a lot of you guys, like I said, have just a lot of limiting beliefs that just don't make sense. But I was once there too, especially when I was going Ruby. I think I had a lot of limiting beliefs like, can I even do this? Is this business even for me? Oh my gosh, why is this so hard? And then once I hit Ruby, you look back and you're like, that really wasn't hard. Like that really was not hard. And then you go diamond, and then whatever happens, whatever, you go look back and you're like, wow, that really wasn't hard. And then you go to the next ranking, you go to the next ranking, you look back every time and you're like, wow, I was overcomplicating the crap out of that the entire time. And so hopefully that helps. I'll go ahead and send this in the chat. Let's see. Okay, well, I'll send it in a second so I don't take up time on here. I'll have to find it because I have like about a billion photos. Oh no, here it is. Okay, so those are the questions that I want y'all to do. Feel free once you're done to send me a screenshot that you've actually done this. There is a statistic, and I'll tell y'all every single time, that when we get on Zooms, 1% of you will actually do the work necessary, and then the rest of you won't do anything. So be that 1%. And hopefully this was valuable to know that you're probably just blocking whatever it is that you want to make happen in this business and in your life, and that you really can change it. And we're here to work with you on it. But I would love to see some of you, or actually every single one of you, claiming a success bonus, claiming a 4-in-1 bonus, claiming that you're going to go Ruby, claiming that you're doing these things, and then actually do the work behind them, not just claiming them and then like crickets, and then I don't ever see you or hear from you again. Or if I go on your page, I see like absolutely nothing that pertains to the business. Or maybe you're someone who just posts and you don't actually do like the actual work behind it, like interacting, messaging, getting host posts up, follow-ups, doing all those things. So just make sure you're doing that. If you have any questions about promotions, if you have any questions about what you're wanting to do this month, like whatever it is, just ask me. You have all the tools in the world, but I cannot physically tell you and help you do these things. Like I can't put the pen to the paper and actually have you write down things in your planner. I can't do that for you. You can only do that for you. And I would love to see more of you do it. And then do me a favor and shout out this in the group chat. Again, I don't know why most of us aren't on tonight, which is fine, because obviously you who showed up, you want it, but just create that FOMO for people because people are missing out. And I feel like this was really, really valuable. And I'm excited to see y'all make those breakthroughs that you have happen with your mindset tonight. I'm really, really excited to see that. Because like I said, I made a breakthrough after 2 weeks of doing this and I earned my success bonus. So I just want to see more of you guys win. So hopefully this helps. I love you guys. Let me stop this recording.